How y'all doing tonight, guys and goddesses? Let the room fill up for a little bit. I started to go a little bit early because we had technical difficulties last week. I'm gonna let the room fill up around 9 to 5. We don't get in. Check my messenger list, and people are hit me up on Messenger right now. Let's talk to them. Get everybody live and linked up. As y'all can see, we doing tonight with the trauma of the illusion versus the intuition of reality. It's a very serious subject that we need to address with many bullet points that we are going to address tonight. This is basically getting on us to coming into ourselves on a deeper level, truly understanding ourselves, truly actually growing. What happens with a lot of us is we get stuck in the day-to-day. We get stuck in the sentimental things. We get stuck because we don't want to fully encompass and embrace our true selves, because we ain't never been there before. We don't know what it really is. We don't know the truth of it. We don't know the depth of it. And that's the thing that kind of scares us a little bit. And that's what we're going to really get into, the meaning of the subconscious thoughts, the things that stop you, these basic distractions. Basically, is, and being in this illusionary world, there's distractions. One just happened with the 10-year sentencing. Once again, that's showing us that this ain't meant for us, but we continuously try to be included in the things. We'll try to look for justice in a system that wasn't even built for you. You look for peace in an environment that wasn't designed for peace. We have to get out of that. We have to get out of that mindset, that mind frame, that hindering. We have to get out of this mundane value system, and all that requires is getting rid of humanity. That we have to destroy our humanity or our ego. Your ego will have you sitting here for the next 5-10 years wishing upon a star for something that's never going to come to you, because we already know most of the things that come to you in your life right now, you've worked hard to get. Most of the things that happen in your life right now, you've worked hard to get for yourself. So you automatically know ain't no one going to be better than you, better for you, better than you, than you. Ain't no one going to be better for you than you. Time is it? 9:06. Oh, no. I went away from my home screen. I know y'all still can see me. I need for that to happen. Can you still see me? Can you see me? Everybody seeing me. All right. Once again, hope y'all had a magnificent Friday. I love y'all. I love all the support. I'm loving the I'm loving the views on the videos. See people are going back on the videos and getting a lot of comments. I'm talking to a lot of people throughout the week, doing a lot of more builds. I'm getting better. As we get better, this is an example of us getting better. This is This is charting our growth. This type of stuff right here, this charts our growth and how strong we're actually becoming. But yeah, the trauma of the illusion and the intuition of our reality. We have to get in tune with ourselves to understand how this illusion of oppression works in order to understand the traumas and the events that occur outside of it and within it. We got to get in tune with that first. Because until we get in tune with that, we're going to keep continuing the same thing. We're going to continue getting upset when they saw a person dying on TV. We're going to continue getting upset when someone is wrongfully tried. We're going to continue being mad when someone gets the wrong sentencing for a crime, when one person gets 10 years and another person gets 100 years. As long as we keep reacting to these things emotionally instead of taking it upon ourselves to grow and learn from them, it's going to continue happening. It's going to continue to happen. Even after we don't pay attention to something, it's still happening in the background somewhere. That's one of those big things where the things that used to have your attention as you get to a certain space, those same things seem to break away, or you don't see much of those people, those spaces, that environment anymore. It's like if you move from your hometown where you're from, and then you take yourself and you move somewhere where you have no friends, no family, no connections, and you try to start over. That is the physical encompassing of what we need to do spiritually. We have to stop living physically. We have to stop living in the mundane world. We have to stop making it a part and being including our spirituality into this world. That's that thought process. That's that paradigm where I put up on the page, I put religion is poison. I'm actually going to read that. It was religion is poison. Basically, that still goes because the only way that it still lives, the only reason that it still goes and it goes and it goes and it goes and this circle continues is because you keep putting your power into it. Even if you sit there and say, I don't like white people. Why? How does that benefits them? Because now it goes under that stigma of you don't like us. Now we're going to give you the reasons not to like us. Understanding it's a distraction. Understanding that the only reason that they have power is because you give them your energy. You give them your attention. The only thing, if baby's in the room crying or the child's in the room crying because they want some cookies, you don't give them the cookies and they continue crying, they want your attention. They're crying for attention. The things around you are children of your own thoughts. They're birthed by your own thoughts. Everything that comes into your life is a birthing from your own thoughts. That's all it is. It's a birthing from your own thoughts. So you feel oppressed? Guess what? You should always see things of an oppressive nature because guess what? You feel like you're oppressed. You feel like something's stopping you. So now everything's going to be birthed from your thoughts, from your astral self, from your subconscious, from your ego, is going to be put in front of you as things that are going to stop you. From the simple things, from changing the way you eat, changing your sleeping habits, changing your money, your saving habits, growing in financial literacy, all these little things like that. These things come from you not because you're thinking it. It's hard to do this. So everything's going to come into you is going to be an obstacle birthed from your thoughts, birthed from your own mind. You're creating your own reality in real time. The more in tune you get with yourself and working on the things in these traumas or these triggers, that trigger your emotion, the higher you get into yourself. I put a post up yesterday about that what's called a case. And the picture says, this is the victim's brother hugging the killer. This is also what a coon looks like. What the fuck? My exact thoughts, brother, my thought process only was, it doesn't even bother me. It further shows me the programming and who is just here to be seen. In your life right now, there's simply scenery. The things that are in your environment that you give your attention to, they're nothing but to be scenery. One of the hardest things that we do in coming into anything is bettering for yourself is that gap. That's the biggest thing, is that gap. And we're going to get into that. But I put yesterday, building up to the live stream, religion is a devastating virus. It spreads to children, the thesis, without the child even having child having a say or knowing better. Essentially brainwashing them. It teaches them to ignore. It teaches people to ignoring logic, that it's okay to accept something with no evidence as truth. Triggers irrational emotions, anger, and superiority, while allowing them to be protected from people calling the virus of their beliefs ludicrously stupid. It harms people in the way verbal abuse does, and the constant threat of your bad, which is ingrained into a person's thinking, using it to control them. That's what religion is. Religion means to bind. That is the meaning of religion. The word religion breaks down to bind. So it binds to you. The only things that can bind to you are binding to you emotionally. So when someone says they're spiritual, but then they want to give you Bible verses that sound so well rehearsed, it's simply emotionalism, because they believe in their heart of hearts that without that, they're bad. When you know inherently inside yourself, you know the difference. How does an ant know how to be an ant? It's ingrained into them. How does a dog know how to be a dog? It's ingrained into them. How does a God know how to be a God? See, we're separated from our higher self. We're separated from our true spiritual self. That's us being gods and goddesses. We're separated from that. And until we get back in line with that, back in alignment, this circle of events that happens around us every day are going to continue happening. The distractions that hit you every single day are going to keep happening. We got to learn to differentiate between the sound of your tuition, the sound of your intuition guiding you, and your traumas misleading you. Right now, we're in a mindset where we are encompassed in trauma, constant bad stuff being shown to us every single day. So in our minds every single day, they tell us it's scary to go outside. So if I'm a person that's scared to go outside, all I'm going to attract and go around, I'm going to stay away from the things, and not being able to have logic, understand what outside is not bad if I'm not going to that environment. That's when you start doing scapegoats. That's where that scapegoat comes from. Something bad happens in your life, someone immediately wants to say, that's the devil working on you. You better get to Jesus. Something mundane happened in your life, you better give that glory to God. Understanding the spell, it allows you to work that spell and manipulate that spell. This is how you manipulate that spell. When someone says you better give it to God, say you're right. better go talk to God. Say, I'm gonna go talk to myself. You got to put yourself, once you say you are a God, once you take that action and you proclaim that you are a God, it is time for you to start acting as a God. Same way if you take the moniker and you say you're a king, or you say you're a queen, you must act as a queen. Not as a hood bitch, not as a bad bitch, not as a real nigga, not as a hood nigga. Because we already understand the breakdown of the word nigga when they put that, it meant ignorant. So when you say you're a hood nigga, you're saying you hood ignorant. It means an ignorant breaks down to you lack knowledge to grow your hood. You say you a hood bitch. That means you was they using in that scapegoat of breaking down that you was a spiteful woman, when actually, when you look at the original text and you understand bitch came from vitch, which made witch, was a dramatic term, was for the witches or the most supreme witches. So you're actually a witch without a coven. You see how you're separated from yourself? You put these words together and you speak this incantation to yourself and you speak it backwards back to yourself. That's how the spell works. They don't have any power. You have the power. That's why they have to force you to say it. They have to force you to think it. They have to force you to believe it for it to sustain. That's the power of this illusion. They give you the traumatic event hits us. It hits you. Something bad happens in your life. It hits you. It makes you go back to what you think. It makes you go back to that buffer, that piece in front of you that you keep going back to. So you in a bad relationship, but you need a place to stay. So you keep going back to that bad relationship. That relationship can be a romantic relationship. It can be a relationship with your family. You know your mom, you know your pops, you know your sister, cousins, whoever it may be. They have a place to stay. You don't like that environment. It's unsavory to you growing in any type of way, but you need a place to stay. Because everybody's everybody. They give you this thought process that family is family, family is forever. And you speak that spell. So you're like, yeah, family's forever, but it's your family, but it's your mom, but it's your dad. Toxic is toxic. Anything that is toxic cannot be in my life. It cannot be in my realm. It can't grow around me. I don't even entertain toxic conversations. If a person has an issue or a problem, yeah, I can have a conversation with you. But if you're not going to expound upon growing, there's no use you have that conversation with me. If you're around a person and you know they're not good for you, but you just steady around them because you think you need something from them, you can't be around me. That's toxic energy. You are harboring poison. Most of us in our lives right now are harboring poison in our lives. We harbor poisonous people. We harbor people that at a point in time, when we were at a certain level, at a certain wavelength, they worked. That we needed them at that time. But in order to understand why we needed them in the first place, you have to separate when you're going to your higher level. When we step up, when you go up a notch, click, up at that, go up those notches, you start to see why that person is still there in that position. Because if they're meant to be with you, they're meant to be around you, they'll grow with you. Either at the same speed or concurrently, they're going to grow with you. It's the only way you can actually look at that. Because if you don't, you're going to keep going around those same people, those same audiences, those same energies that were around you in the first place. You're going to keep going back around them. But that's my own girl. That's my own boy. He was there when nobody else was, man. That man was helping me hustle. Okay. But look at this person without you. That person's going to do the same thing with or without you. But that person can go from talking with you to talking against you. Man, I can't believe they said that to me. It's going to happen. As you change, they stay the same. If they following the same narrative that you follow, y'all sat there and talked about people, what do you think they're going to do to you? The thing that we get stuck on, the reality of it, is our intuition is telling us, back of your mind, that voice you ain't listening to, that's your intuition telling you, damn, they always talking about somebody. What do they say about me when I ain't around? I wonder. The people that are around you, you can have a whole boat. A boat does not sink from the water around it. It sinks from the water that's let in. You rising, you getting better, but you keep going around the same people, then you wonder why your boat ain't going anywhere. You wonder why you ain't hitting that. Why you wonder why the current, why you pushing against the current? Because people are there controlling the rudder that you trusted to help you run your move around in your life. They go on a different course, and that's okay. Let them go that different course. That cognitive dissonance in them is going to take them over there and take you over here. Everybody is not going where you're going. That's your superpower. Everybody is not going to see the way you see. That's your gift. That's your power. That's your purpose. The moment you start taking it more seriously, the stronger it gets. The more you can work at your craft. You can have a job and lose it, but you can never lose your gift. Work on your gift and everything comes with it. Work on your passion, everything comes with it. Work on your purpose and everything else flows with it. That's when the truth flows to it. Stop putting your mind, we got to stop putting our mindsets in this thought process that we're owed something. You can't be owed. The only way you owe somebody, simple math. If I give you $20, now you owe me $20 because I gave you $20. In order for you to owe anybody anything, in order for somebody to owe you something, you must have had willingly given them something. Willingly giving you something. Our ancestors did not willingly give themselves to these masters. You feel me? They didn't willingly say, I'm going to come over there and work. I'm going to come over here and work in that hot sun for you. I'm going to come over here and allow you to beat on me. That's that programming in your mind. I put a post up. It was talking about the meek shall inherit the earth. That's one of the biggest things people will thump on that Bible and say. They'll say the meek shall inherit the earth. I have the definition of meek. I had to look up the definition of meek. Definition of meek is, there's so much stuff going on. The definition of meek. First definition, humble, patient, docile, as under provocation from others. Or provocation from others. The second definition, overly submissive or uncompliant, spiritless, tame. Obsolete, gentle, kind. In the thought process, how can you inherit something if you show no strength to carry forward? How can you deserve something when you're not worth, or under the guise of thought process that you're not worthy? You see how to disconnect? These things are disconnects from your true self. Every single day of your life, past, present, all in that moment, this is the things that we need to work on mentally. These are the mental things that we need to work on, because we're put into a space where if I'm just calm enough and peaceful enough, good things will come to me. But then the good things that you want don't come to you. Then you look over here and you see this motherfucker being the most, what you would call the most wicked shit. You see the dealer up the street, he got all his chains on, got all his jewels on, his car out there shining, looking nice. Positive and negative. Look at it as a learning aspect. This person, on one level, is doing as they please to serve themselves. So in a positive aspect, you would admire. That's why you have admiration for the dealer or the entertainer. That's why they can show you constantly images of entertainers and dealers and strippers and glorifying over all the over sexualization, all that's connected. Remember, everything is everything. So they can show you all these images on TV and you can show them with money. And since you value money over your own self, you value stroking your ego with money rather than feeding your soul actual nourishment, you'll sit there and look at that and you'll be upset and you'll be disheartened. Congratulations, you just gave your power away. Because that shit shouldn't even matter to you. At this point in time, that shit shouldn't even matter to you. Why the fuck does it matter? Why does it matter that this motherfucker has a bigger crib than mine? Motherfucker got a 5-bedroom house, but he's paying $1,200 a month for a mortgage. He's paying $300-400 a month for homeowners insurance. He's paying 4 different car notes. She's paying for the maintenance on her ass implants and breast enhancements, and lip enhancements, and all these enhancements to her body. So how well is she living if she cannot simply sit still? The moment you realize you don't need anything, everything comes. The moment you realize you don't need anything, everything comes. But you gotta prepare the area. You gotta cultivate the spot. Your mind cannot take in new information if you ain't unlocked it. You ain't removed the barrier. You ain't removed that door. You ain't opened up that door to that avenue into your brain, to your mind, deep into your cerebral cortex to grow. So how are you gonna grow if you're still in the same position? How are you going to get somebody to accept you for who you are if you don't know who you are yourself? If you're not a vent, if you don't vent the issues, and then somebody comes into your life that wants to help you grow to your better self, and you haven't done any of the work to yourself, everything they say is going to seem like an attack. That's emotionalism. Emotionalism will have you sitting here saying things like, accept me for who I am. Jesus accepts me for who I am. Allah accepts me for who I am. But you don't go deeper into it. So like, you want to be accepted as a child is what you're telling somebody. When you say that, if someone says that to me, they want me to accept them as a child, that they're not going to grow, that they're not going to evolve. That means they're going to stifle me just to accept them. I have to stifle myself just to accept them. I have to watch what I say to accept somebody. I have to watch what I say to make other people comfortable. I'm not docile. I'm not a docile energy. My energy is too powerful to be docile. My energy is too great to ever go obsolete. So when you have that thought process in your mind and you start setting your mind up that way, that's how everything comes to you. That's how everything gets stronger. When you understand, when you come from your dark and you understand your beautiful darkness, and you understand where you create from, that's how you get into that. That's how you get strong. That's how you become better. These traumas, these events aren't fucking coincidental. They're orchestrated. All this is orchestrated in this illusion to give you free will. And they show you who's going to win in this world, what you got to do to win. And they show you what you got to do to lose. They show you the punishments for being you and the benefits for being them. And then you feed into that energy. So you sit there and be like, that's fucked up how that happened. It's their system. It's designed for them. In this realm, that's their system. Everybody get mad, if two people pray to the same thing, if a lion and a gazelle are running in the Serengeti, and the gazelle is saying, please don't let me get eaten. I pray to you, God, don't let me get eaten. And the lion saying, I'm praying to you, let me catch my next meal. If the lion gets the meal, everybody's like, oh my God, the gazelle just got eaten. If the gazelle get away, like, yeah, the gazelle got away. Now the lion went hungry. The gazelle got away. You see how there's no good and bad based on that environment. In your environment where you're at, you control your reality, you control your space. So everything in your space can be positive. And then that one negative energy coming to your space, now to them, your space is your space is negative to their way of thinking. To you tapping into yourself, that's negative for them. Because now they lose a battery. You are the power source to your own remote, you are the power source to the remote control of your life. But you allow someone else to hold the remote. That is the staple of religion itself. For me to bow to somebody else and give everything to them, no matter what happens in my life, good or bad, I give it to them. I give the same energy I give it to them when it's bad. You give the same energy. You come from the same energy that when something is bad, and you come from the same energy when something's good. You make yourself obsolete. The existence of you is obsolete. It's only what they see. It's only what they say. It's only what they feed you. It's only what they give you to consume. It's the only thing that you accept. Anything outside of that paradigm is not good for you. It's not good for business. In that thought process, that's why we are at where we are at. That's why these things continue to keep happening. Give you an example. If I wake up tomorrow, say I woke up Monday, and I had a conversation with somebody, friend, one of my homeboys, one of my homegirls, and we have a conversation, and 10 minutes into the conversation, they start talking about their guy or their girl. All the problems they're having, all the issues they're having, all this stuff. Usually when someone gives you a list of issues, it's based from their perspective. So since they're stuck in their perspective, they're going to give you their side of the story. And you, trying to be the helpful one, will give your advice based on their side of the story. And then they'll take your advice. They'll apply your advice. If it goes good, you'll never get credit. If it goes bad, all the credit comes to you. All credit will come to you. That's the reality of it. That's the system that we're in. The system that's promoted is a system of punishments and rewards. Your entire life has been put into punishment and reward. That's why a dead person can say to you, if it wasn't for slavery, we would never meet God. When you are aware and a conscious, and you're aware and you're conscious, the thing you're going to say is, you're right. Let's say you're right. If you never would have met God, you never would have got Jesus. We don't know how to look back. So what the fuck did we have before Jesus? What did we have before Allah? What did we have before all of these archetypes of the same source? What were we talking about then? What were we doing then? Why were we so happy then? We fight for happiness now based upon this thought process of we need happiness. We need something to make us happy. We need something to keep us at peace. We need something to keep us stable that's outside of us. That's dangerous in itself. Now we're being misled by our traumas. Thousands and thousands upon thousands, they're continuously being misled by their trauma. The trauma of slavery, misleading them to think that they need God, that Jesus even more. That trauma of that being molested when they were younger makes them think that's the only way they get attention is by being sexual. Because no one was there to have that conversation. They weren't able to talk to anybody because in some cases, that's the only space they had to live. If they got rid of this person, they wouldn't be able to live. And that's how that's predator versus the prey. That's what prey means. Your mind does not know the difference between the words pray, P-R-A-Y, and pray, P-R-E-Y. So you speak the spell unknowingly. I pray for better days and you take me away from this. You take all the evil out of him. Make him better. Remove everything from him that keeps him this way. And then you wonder why your relationship ends. That's the universe answering it. The reason that he can stay that way is because you're staying there. The moment that you move away from there, he loses that power base. The reason your homegirl stays the way she stays is because she's structured to believe that that space is she gets everything she needs out of that space. So everything she gets out of that space, she has to do little or nothing for. She just got to put up with some mental anguish. So based on her environment, she's now in her knowledge, that's what she's going to be locked into. Your homeboy, that all he does is run around womanizing being a womanizer, that's what I want to say, being a womanizer, it's the environment based in that thought process of that the toxic masculine archetype they're giving us. We're supposed to pursue. We're supposed to be alphas. We're supposed to be wolves. We're supposed to chase. We're supposed to conquer. That's based on the paradigm of Eurocentric thought. There's someone to sit there and tell you, I can't believe he's acting that way. The very religion that you subscribe to has that in there. There's like 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 excerpts in that whole fucking book talking about rape. If you rape her, you must marry her. Think about that. If you rape her, you must marry her. You can beat your slave as long as they do not die. If they rise during the morning day, it is okay. Thought processes like that are programmed into this, are programmed into your mind that you subscribe to. We subscribe to these thought processes. We subscribe to these things, and we wonder what's going on. We wonder why it's going on in our day-to-day lives because you subscribe to it. Something as simple as the love is love. I looked it up. I remember when I first heard the new thing for the LGBT, they said love is love. I remember I looked it up. It triggered something in me. Because I remember that was the slogan for something way back in the day. And I got it off the South Park cartoon. Remember, they put it in the cartoons. They put it in these teen movies because they know the programming has to start young to keep you in that mindset of a child. So who better to attach to first is the children or the new gods, the old gods. We're in a society right now where it's the new gods versus the old gods. The new versus the old. They put the old against the young. They put the old gods against the new gods. The new gods look real shiny and in place. But the old gods, they ain't providing because they're not eating the young gods. They're not nourishing themselves anymore. So you take the thought process, love is love. I looked it up. And I remember that South Park episode. The National Man Boy Love Association. Their slogan is love is love. So embedded in their agendas is to promote these things. One mental illness for another one. It was in the 1700s, I believe, or like the 18. I cannot remember that date to ever save my life, and I meant to look it up earlier. But homosexuality was a sickness. It was registered as a sickness. It was taken away from being a sickness by the people that had the sickness, the mental illness. So you open one door, you must allow all the other doors that are around that to open. So you accepted that. After years and years and years and years and decades of it happening, what did you do? What did you do? You accepted it. Oh, it became acceptable. Everybody deserves. Then they gave you things like they want to adopt. They want to have families. They want to get married. They want to do all these things. All these things. And then they give you the same banner. Everybody is everybody. Everybody deserves love. Love is love. They've been promoting that forever. Love is love. Love is love. Love is love. Augmenting the definition of love. When you hear a song, when you hear music now, especially into nowadays generation of music, and you hear love equates to sex. So it's not love, it's lust. The same things that they try to keep you away from and then expounding and understanding, they put a different banner over it since you didn't understand it. So if you don't understand what sex is, and then encompassing in the sexual sacred energy exchange, and you don't value yourself as sacred, you allow everybody to touch you, whether spiritually, mentally, or physically. It's all the same exchange. You ever been in a space and you were feeling real, real good, and the wrong person walk in the room and the energy change, that person come near you, just walk past you, and you get anxious, your anxiety kick in. That's that transfer of energy. They embody a negative energy. You embody a positive energy. But since we haven't worked on the negative energy, the triggers that are inside of us that connect to that energy, that's how it can hit you. That's how the distraction works. The distraction comes to you emotionally because they can't attack you spiritually. They don't have the power. They don't have the energy. They don't have the ability to attach to you spiritually. That's why in order to colonize our minds, they had to literally demonize our spirituality. They had to make everything we were already doing bad. And they had to make a reason for it to be bad. Remember, when they first started coming in to do their conquering, they didn't come in to conquer. They came in as friends. They came in as friendly. They came in with blankets. They came in with jewels. They came in with books. They came in with open arms and being friendly. Similar to the people that come into your life. When they come into your life at certain points in time, when you're down and you're distron, you're down and you're out, they come in peace. They come in love. They come in happiness. They come in a face that you're used to. But you don't understand their ulterior motives. You don't understand that person because all you're seeing is a savior complex. You saved me from actually going through what I needed to go through. That's how we have to start thinking about these things. The things that happen in your life, you have to go through them. The traumas that you go through, the only way to get through them is to go through them, is to expound, go all the way into them, let it rip you apart, because that's what that love is. Let it rip you apart to bleed out everything that don't need to be there. Because the only reason that trauma could trigger you is because it's connected to something within you. The only way that trauma can connect and it works is if it's hitting triggers that were already put there. We have triggers inside of us in our DNA. Because remember, that shit's passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation. So that's what I'm talking about. When we had that talk about the generational curses, that's why it's so important to break these generations, understand these generational curses, or you're going to be stuck in that line of events to keep happening with those triggers. You can run away from it all day, but you become what you hate, or you embrace what you hate, or you become what you hate, or you embrace what you love. You become what you hate, or you embrace what you love. How many of us that have had our fathers in our lives hated the way our father was, but became just like our father? How many of us have mothers in our lives, hated the way our mothers were, but become just like our mothers? You become what you hate. Most of us so badly hate white people that we've become just like them. We've become the archetype of hate. We've become the archetype of savage. That's their natural. That's what they were scripted to be. So if you're hating it, you become it because now it's in your mind. You think about it all the time. You think about everything about it that's negative. Every propaganda, they use every stereotype of propaganda piece about it so you don't want to be it. Then you become it anyway. Because now they can use that against you. They're savages. They don't like people. They hate us. Congratulations. That's why you will hardly ever hear me say anything bad about white people. They have to reach the realm I'm in order to even phase me. The people around you, they have to reach the realm you're in to even get to you. You gotta let them in. The shit that's annoying you the most in your life, you gotta let it in. You the one to let it in. How'd you get in here? You let them in. You gave them attention. You invited them in as soon as you gave them your attention. Whether you said you hated them or you hated them or you love them. Or you have if you don't choose a side, a response is good as no response. The first thing I noticed and I read when I was looking at when I was preparing for so many things I'm doing is there's one thought process that pops into the existence for myself. And I've jotted it down. I'm going to pull it up really, really quick. And it was an encompassing thought. The truth shall set you free, but it will shatter your illusions. The truth will set you free, but it will shatter your illusions. Similar to everything else, you cannot move anywhere forward. I found it. The setback and difficult situation that you are currently dealing with has a purpose. You will get through this. It hasn't got the power to defeat you. It's not there to stop you. It's here to help you and encourage you to grow. Know that you are not a failure because of this setback. There is no shame in being where you are. This isn't the time to fight against yourself or go back into your old ways of feeling. I cannot talk. Spirit's got me doing everything today. Or go back into your old way of seeing things. Nor is it a time for you to give up. It is time to get up and rise up. Use this setback as a learning tool you let to be your focus. Use it to better yourself in what you are doing. For a lot of us, a setback happened. And the automatic thing that happened to us when that setback happens is the, oh my goodness, you start going back to your old way of thinking. The things you did before you expounded upon your new self. Every step that you take as you get higher, and we get higher into ourselves, is going to require a different version of you. Every step, every level that you go to is going to require a different level of yourself. For us, it is our spiritual bodies. We have to release from this thought process that we're even human. That's what I mean. That's that biggest key I keep I cannot iterate enough. Is killing the humanity, killing that morality. Or I'm not meaning cleaning the natural morality itself, the natural balance, the natural laws, the natural balance of my act for ourselves. I'm talking about this morality that's been put upon us. That's based upon punishment and reward. The reason the conflict keeps arising in your life is based upon your old self is fighting your new self. You've only been given two extremes. In that doctrine, you're given two extremes. Either you do this and you're going to hell, or you're doing this and you're going to heaven. So your entire life, now guess what you're doing in your life? Living in hell. You spend your entire life living in hell, living in anguish, living in trauma, living in pain, living in damn near destitute. For what? If you sit still enough in shit, you're still going to smell like shit. If you sit long enough in shit, you always going to smell like shit. Because you've become docile. That's why when they show an image on television or in the media of this cop fixing this lady's hair, or the judge giving this woman a hug, or her getting a hug from the brother of the victim's brother, it hits you. Because a part of you is still docile, waiting for something to come and get you out of your environment that you're in. The only thing that I learned, amongst the many things that I learned in the what's in dirt seeing that case, the only thing that I learned is some are meant to be scenery, others are meant to be a learning experience that what they eat doesn't make me shit. Yes, I tell everybody all the time, like, I have the compassion, like, okay, cool, justice was da da da, all this stuff, boom, boom, boom. You gotta have compassion. You do not have to search for peace. You do not have to be complacent for peace. You do not have to be complacent in where you're at to get what you want. If I wait a couple more days, I can get the money to pay my light bill. If I wait a couple more days, maybe he'll turn out. Maybe my son will shape up. Maybe my daughter will shape up. If I wait a couple more days and let's give it to Jesus some more. If it don't happen, what do? You pray more. When it does happen, you give the glory to somebody else, even though it was your words that fixed it. We got to take our minds out of that space entirely. That's the only way we're gonna get better, is by taking our minds out of that space indefinitely. Before I came online, I had my normal in-depth meditation, as I always do. I have my in-depth meditations. And I stilled my mind and I cleared my mind, went to the spirit realm, went to where my throne's always at. I'm always chilling up there anyway. And I grew. And I had that thought, like the spirit came to me, and I was really, really happy for myself. because I understood the reality of what's going on around me. For a minute, for a while in my life, as I was getting to this, as I was coming to a certain moment, I never saw myself doing what I'm doing now in that aspect. I never saw myself expounding upon what I expound upon now, how I move, how I walk, how I talk, how I speak. I never saw myself doing it. These something in the works. I got something in the works. Something in the works. Look out! I'm working on a website. I'm working on building. We're building a couple things. Building a website. Putting a lot of stuff together as an example in a growth process for myself to show that we can create anything. But I took myself from where I'm at now, based on all the traumas and all the events that happened in my life, led me to this point. The only way that the illusion of the world that I used to live in survived was basically because of my energy. Once you start separating yourself in an aspect to learn, your entire reality shifts. Because those things no longer embrace or tune into you. You see how that makes sense? Those things no longer tune into you because it no longer holds on you. One of the biggest things is family. And that's we don't get into that. I wrote that down. You stop attracting certain people when you heal the parts of you that no longer needed them. So a lot of us can have that thought process based on where we were at is where we feel we need to be. Based on where we're at is where we feel we need to be. A lot of people have that fear. A lot of cones. We can have this thought process in our mind that based on our environment, based on where we came up, based on how we came up, that's what we link to. So they can give you the thought process that family is everything, family over everything. I love me a family. That's cool. That's nice. That's fine. It's dandy. But in the reality of it is, for me, it wasn't until I made that step out of my hometown, in that aspect, we say our hometown, to where I had no friends, I had no family. When I was totally separated, I had no friends, I had no family, I had no one to lean on, I had no one to lean on, I had no one to talk to, I had no one to speak with. I was totally separated to myself. That's when I ingrained and I found my true self. And my true self was buried underneath all of those anatones and negative thoughts and negative processes and traumas and holding shit back and not venting and not letting shit go and just allowing it to fester. And it suffocated my core until I couldn't see any more light. See how that makes sense? Suffocating my core until I couldn't see light. I couldn't even see my own light. I couldn't even see my own power. I couldn't even see my own power. I couldn't see my own light. I couldn't see my own strength. I couldn't see any of these things. I couldn't see any of these things. I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see myself. That's when that shadow work started. All the things that I was taught, all the things that were indoctrinated into me at that point in time, I know I have to start working on. One of my biggest things for me is I'm an empath amongst a whole slew of other spiritual things that I am. I'm an empath. I literally feel the energy of everything around me. I literally feel the energy. I can absorb everything. And since I had the ability to absorb everything, I would take on the broken. I would take on the hurt. I would take on the situations no one else would take on. I would take on the people that no one else would take on. I would always, everything around me was a reflect, me not understanding that, and me understanding that everything around me was just simply a reflection of me to learn from. So the reason that everybody around me seemed to be broken, or all these relationships that I got in, the queen that I was with at that time, they were broken. They were always broken. They didn't have feelings for themselves. They always put someone else before themselves. They enjoyed the attention from being broken. That was my learning experience. You can't learn something if you approach it with emotion. We get so emotionally engulfed in the things that are happening around us, we can't learn from it. So I can sit here and I can have a conversation with you guys. We can have this conversation. I'm coming from a space where I can explain it because I've been through it. That's that being led. That's that two sides of the universe having that conversation with each other. When we have these conversations, that's what that is. It's two sides of the universe having a conversation with each other. It's two parts of the same whole having a conversation with you. Those conversations that you have with yourself, the more you start listening to them and the more you start grooming yourself and cultivating yourself in that level, that's when you start understanding that shit really didn't matter. That breakup with myself really didn't matter. It was needed at that point in time. Everything that comes into your life at a certain point in time is needed at that point in time. If you approach it with emotion, you will become attached to it in a way that is unhealthy to your growth. Everything that comes into your life at a certain point in time, depending on what it is and where it came from and how it balances out, is meant to help and teach you. Everything that comes into your life is not meant to stay into your life. Emotional, your ego will have you trying to keep it attached to you and only you. Your ego will compartmentalize you and have you having the whole thing is only to you. So then you'll be sitting there like, yo, that's mine. It's not yours. That's that ego. That's emotionalism having you keep it as yours. Ego will have you thinking that it's yours. Spiritually, you realize that it was always a part of you. When you realize you need nothing, everything comes to you. When you realize you need nothing, everything comes to you. When you realize you need nothing, you allow your mind to still. You allow your mind to clear itself. You allow your higher self to actually start projecting and working its way down to understand things. It's all about that understanding concept. So that's all this in your core, everything attached to your core, as you're growing and you're coming into your spiritual self, breaking away from that paradigm, those bonds, those chains, is going to make you upset. It's going to make you sad. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make you have a expounding bunch of emotions. Because everything that comes in got to come out. Everything that you put under that bottle, under that top, and you clapped off and you locked off, has been sitting there being on a constant being shook under pressure. Let go and let God, let go and let God. It ain't going nowhere once you say let go and let God. It ain't going nowhere. It's being kept under pressure. That's why it's one of the most dangerous drugs on the world. Similar to any other drug or anything else that's an addicted, there's addiction. You don't know yourself. You're in an altered state of reality. People that go through this religious mantra, you're under a false sense of yourself. And the moment you start feeling something that doesn't feel as you are, you run away from it. So by nature, you're running away from yourself. By you demonizing or accepting that the demonization, and I break that down every single time, the Damien, Latin for intelligence. You run away from your intelligence. You run away from your superiority. You run away from your supreme entity, your supreme being. You run away from your own magic. The wizard, you run away from your own magic. You run away from your own self. How does it catch up to you? Anything that you run away from, you eventually is going in a circle and you're gonna run right back into it. So how do you run right back into it? Since you don't understand it, it can be used against you. Since you don't understand it, it can be used against you. Since you don't understand it, guess what? It's used against you every single day. Your own power, your own divine essence is used against you every single day. Your own anger can now be used against you every single day. Your own depression, your own happiness, your own pride, your own everything is used against you every single day. All of it is used against you. Why? Because you don't have control of it. You haven't embraced it. Embrace your anger. Embrace your happiness. Embrace your sadness. When you're told not to embrace who you are, it's detrimental to you rising. Second key. How you survive is detrimental to you rising. So in natural succession, if you're in walking away and not expounding upon who you actually are, that's detrimental to yourself. Now you're surviving by running away, and it's detrimental to you moving up higher because you're just running around in a circle. You're on the first level. Everything around you that you want is on the higher level. And the thing that's stopping you from getting to your higher level is everything that's coming down that you need to get to, you're going to feel like you're being attacked. So the reflection, you feel like you're being attacked out in the world. Since you don't understand yourself and you don't have your emotions in check, everything's attacking you. And they show you that every day in the media. Every time they kill one of our sons, one of our daughters, steal and harvest one of the organs of one of our children, rape one of our mothers, slain one of our fathers. That's a reflection of everything that's going on inside you. That's a reflection of you. It's not a distraction. It's a learning experience for you. It's going to try to distract you and get you involved emotionally. But it's the reason that it happened. If it didn't happen to you directly, it happened somewhere around you. That's why you need to start looking at it. Usually it goes hand in hand. It's a hand-in-hand process. It's fucking crazy. I can sit here. I haven't watched television, like physical live TV programs on television, for about a year to about 2 years now. The most thing you'll see me watch, or anybody who knows me that actually watch Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or whatever, some show on there, and it's usually an older show. And I'm like back on Sons of Anarchy, and it's kind of funny. The more I watch Sons of Anarchy, the mental programming in it is crazy, because you think about the town Charming. If you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu now. It was on Netflix and ain't on it anymore, I don't think. But you start looking at these shows and you see the archetype for what they are about. They're about their values their way. They're about making their town great again, keeping their town the way it is, taking it to where they feel most comfortable and complacent. They don't care if they got to lie, cheat, or steal, or whatever they got to do it, as long as their town is the way that they want it. If that don't sound like what's going on right now, don't know what is. You want change, but you don't want to take the steps to change. You want growth and something better, but you don't want to take the steps to do something better. You want to live being misled by your trauma. You want to live in the illusion because you know what to get out of it. Most of us are stuck in this thought process of, I will accept where I'm at right now because I know I'm going to get out of it. I know this is going to happen. I know this is going to happen. I know this is going to happen. I don't like these things, but I know the little bit that I'll get from it. And you'll sit there, your face all scrunched up. You'll sit there pissed off at the world when all you are is really mad at yourself. You're ashamed of yourself. You're guilty from your own thoughts. You feel guilty. You blame guilt on other people. You place guilt on other people because you're guilty of something that you've done. That's that mirror effect. And since you're separated, there's a mirror. It's a clear mirror right there in front of you. And it's showing you from different versions. The mundane shows up the most. It shows up the clearest. The more you start stepping out and expanding past the mundane and stepping outside of your comfort zone, something as simple as you don't make the first move. You accept what comes. If you don't make the first step, you accept what comes. If you don't make the first move, you accept what comes. I cannot allow myself to allow anything into my life that's not on the level that I'm at, that's not vibrating in the same mental space that I'm on. Me coming from the higher, going to me projecting myself and bringing myself to this level in that aspect for myself. Everything that comes around me embodies these nodes. They light up to me. So I notice those first. So the things that used to upset me, I'm not bounded to anymore. The things that used to have me distracted don't bind to me anymore. I'm not bound to it anymore. Ego had me for a long time thinking that it's my family, it's my mom, it's my pops, it's my brother, it's my sister, my cousin, my aunts. They family. After a while, you'd be like, you know the insides and out of your family. So those are the easiest ones to step away from. See, when you think in emotionalism, you start thinking about all the moments that you had. But when you start thinking and you start going to spiritual wisdom, you think about those same moments that you had, but why did they occur in the first place? That's the key to breaking the illusion. That's the key to breaking those triggers. That's the key to breaking it. That's that gap. That gap is your sight. So if I sit here and I'm stuck on, someone can make that, they make that same post, I think almost every other month, every couple months they'll put that post up. White people want us to forget, don't forget the Alamo, don't forget 9/11, don't forget the Holocaust, don't forget this, don't forget that. Oh, slavery was so long ago. Guess what? They're right. We should forget about it. In that aspect, we should forget about it. Because it's not beneficial to your growth. Because how you're remembering it is the emotional. We're remembering the emotional. You see, when they say remember the Alamo, remember 9/11, and they remember the Holocaust, everything that they say remember was created. We already understand that the Holocaust that they speak of wasn't a true event based on how they structured it. We already understand that 9/11 wasn't real. It was no more than a ritual type sacrifice that every time they bring it up and you say the words 911 or you say remember 911, it relaunches that trigger and it relaunches that trauma, and now you're connected to it. So it's like reverse psychology. They tell you to forget about slavery, but you know you're not going to forget about it. So if I tell you to forget it, if I tell you don't forget about it, what are you going to do? If I tell you right now, forget about something as simple as when we were little, we went out and you went out and you said you were hungry and your mom went past your parents went past McDonald's. And then they hit you with, you can forget about that, you got food at the house. You mad, you go home, nothing matches that taste of Mickey McDonald's. But then you go to sleep or you cool it off and then you find out that your mom ordered pizza. Same difference is reverse psychology. If I tell you to forget something, you'll always be looking for me. You'll always be looking for the memory of something better. We hold on to things emotionally because we feel that without those, the truth is we don't know where we are outside of those emotions. We hold on to hurt and become more fragile because we're holding on to something that ain't supposed to be there. If I take a glass and I pack it with rocks, if I take this glass and I pack it with rocks, and then I take a big rock and I put on top of it and I press down with all that pressure on that glass, eventually this glass will crack and everything's going to leak out. That was not my excuse to take a sip of that. encompassed within you, your mind is focused on this illusion that's in front of you. This surface, this energy where we're at, these spaces of where we're at. Your mind is encompassed and engulfed into this. Everything that is inside of your mind, everything that is inside your thought process, everything that's inside your subconscious that's constantly circling through your ego keeps this entire illusion intact. All the bad things, all the good things, they're intact. So it's similar to you not being able to see my mouth, but you hear me speaking. You can hear me speaking, but you don't know what my true face is. You're only assuming that what you need and what you're hearing is coming from my mouth. You only can assume it based on what you see. That's the illusion. So the illusion that is I'm creating an illusion like I'm not speaking from, this is the illusion. So you only think that you're hearing something. You only think, you're only doing it based off belief that if I continue doing this long enough, I can get the message. But what if I move my hand and I wasn't speaking at all? I just gave you the illusion that from this space you'll get this. That's dictatorship. Your traumas mislead you. That's dictating you, and it misleads you away from yourself. That's similar. We can always go back to the people that are around us. You can have 1 to 2 people around you that are always around you. You can call them your day ones, your best friends. They've been around you for every problem. They've been around you for every triumph based on you getting past those problems and how you dealt with them at that space and time. But you're going to a different space now. So that's how that's emotionalism. See how emotionalism attach you to that. So, egotistically speaking, in that aspect, you're feeding your ego by who you surround yourself with. These are my day ones. They've been here with me ever since the start. When I needed something, they were there. Long line of things. But why when you don't need them, where do they go? Where do they go when you're not there? If I don't need it anymore, where does it go? Because if I need it in my environment where I'm at, it will come to me in my environment. We get so stuck on holding on to so many things that when it comes time to open and expound to something different, we feel like we're being attacked. That's how they're attacking you. You feel you're not worthy. You feel you're distressed. You feel they call you a savages. You accept the stereotype of being a real nigga. You accept not having any knowledge. So guess what they can bombard you with? That's why the image outside of yourself, that reflection outside of you constantly in the media is distress. Because you feel all they do is kill our people. So what do they show you? Them killing your people. All they do is let us starve. So what do they show you? They're starving your people. And then they can just build everything on top of that. They already built this sturdy foundation. So this is just like how they hit you emotionally when I think this month's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they got Susan Cohen. I was at the mall today, and I was like, I like that tie. I wouldn't wear it with that pink bow on it, the pink ribbon on it, because upon me doing the research, Susan Cohen her sponsors are some of the same toxic foods that cause cancer. They'll put a pink ribbon on anything, and emotionally your body can say, I'm supporting breast cancer awareness. So you won't go into the knowledge part and read that milk has cancer-causing agents in it. Meat has cancer-causing agents in it because it helps build mucus into the body. It's acidic, so it creates mucus in the body. So how can you put a label on something to cause prevention and awareness when it causes the very thing that you're making aware? As an occultist, I can look at that and be like, hidden in plain sight, they're showing you, yes, because nowhere do they very rarely say prevention. They always say breast cancer awareness month. They took out the prevention part a while back. We still think prevention because they'll show it every once in a while. Breast cancer awareness month. So yes, I can put this little band on a jug of milk because it says breast cancer awareness month. You will support breast cancer awareness. You are supporting your awareness to not looking past to understand that the very thing that this banner is on is what will kill you. And that's what we suffer from. When you subscribe to something, you accept everything that is in that structure. Everything that is structured around that belief, that system, you accept, knowingly or unknowingly. You become bound to it. You can say, oh, that's not me for yourself. That's not how I use it. But overall, in the general sense of it, that's what that is. So we get stuck on this compartment. Our ego have us compartmentalizing. Someone can be as simple as, yeah, I have a couple of drinks. Someone will be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Everybody has a couple of drinks after work. When they get home, nah, I have my drinks in the middle of the day. I have my drinks in the morning. You think that's all right? Drinking that early in the morning, smoking that early in the morning, doing this early in the morning. You gotta go. Then you wait. So you mean you do that every morning? That means you came to work like that? So as that shedding of your reality, it starts hitting that person. At first they're gonna feel attacked, like that ain't wrong. It ain't bad. And then you start looking at your environment, everybody around you does that same thing. So that's why you never saw it as, you never thought anything of it because everybody around you does it. You see, you can't understand that box if you inside that box. It's not until you step outside of that box do you understand the box and how it works. That's where we're stuck at. We jump from one box to another box. You got from one human experience to another human experience. Instead of understanding that if I stand outside, I can see everything that I need to see, and I can better dictate, move, and lead myself through the knowledge. That's our Achilles heel. That's what's stopping us. That's what hinders us as a collective. That's what hinders us. So we want to, first thing you want to do when you get some information, you want to go share it with your friends. You running off emotion. I'm going to go share what I just learned. I'm going to go share what I just heard. I'm going to go share it with my friends. I'm going to go share it with my family. And then it hits you like, oh shit. Yeah. The conversations get dry. The responses get dry. You're like, oh shit. Then you step away, you leave away. Then you notice the phone call stop. The event stop. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The truth will set you free, but first it's going to shatter your whole illusion. The illusion of what you call family is going to shatter to the truth of you finding yourself. The truth of you being more conscious in your health is going to shatter the illusion of McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and Jack in the Box and KFC, even a little bit of it, because you start seeing for what it really is. Now your intuition can kick in. You see that illusion, does the illusion shatter? The reality shows itself, and now your intuition kicks in. And since now you're operating on intuition, you don't need the morality that they gave you. You don't need the food, whether it's the spirit, the physical, or the emotional or the mental. You don't need them to feed you anymore because they're not feeding your ego. You start moving in yourself. That's how your confidence grows. And you can start expounding and actually going deeper into yourself. If you knew exactly how powerful you were in that aspect, half of the things you're going through, you wouldn't be going through. If you truly understood the depth of yourself and the truth to yourself, and you expound it to yourself, that's how you gain more knowledge. Because the more you know about yourself, the more you want to know about everything outside of you. That's the growth. You can think something every single day based on the beliefs that you have because that's how you experienced it. But the minute you start knowing about it and knowing what it actually is, it doesn't serve a purpose to you. That's how that breakaway happens. That's how that shift happens. That's how that wave happens. That's how you get in control of your emotions. There's nothing bad about being emotional, except if you don't have the control of your emotions. We're giving all of these different terms to the basis of, I read a post the other day about, I always thought about attention deficit disorder. It's not truly a disorder. It's just that your mind is now overactive. It's just because you have an overactive mind. Based upon how we learn by sound, we learn by movement. These are the ways that we learn. We learn by sound. This, for us as a people, we learn from sound and movement, colors and lights. You see, when you were a kid, you sit there for 6.5 hours in front of the TV playing a video game, but you'll spend 20 minutes on a book. We need live stimulation. We need to be able to see it for it to happen. We need to see it moving, to dissect it. We don't need a book. That goes in that thought, but we don't need a book. We wrote the book. That's what we get stuck on. We want someone to do the work for us. If you do the work for me, then I ain't got to do it. I ain't got to get no more information off of it. So I'm stuck in that. That's how we compartmentalize ourselves. That's how we get so stuck on this thought process of, nah, I don't want to do that because of this. Because I heard or somebody told me. Then you do it and you find out it actually works. Damn, that wasn't good at all. It wasn't that bad. Damn, I feel better. In these thought processes to that. What else were we supposed to do? Wait, I lost train of thought. Wait. Okay, I'm back. There's 3 parts to resetting your mind. 3 parts. 3 simple parts that I've came to figure out. It's similar to the beginning, middle, and end process. Everything's on beginning, middle, and end. We already know that it takes 21 continuous steps to break a habit. It takes 90 days to create a behavior. So once we understand that, we understand the cycle of events that happens around us. So you can have 21 days of some good shit happening. Energy's good, everything's vibing, everything's going right in your life. Boom, popped up a case. White chick got 10 years in the damn, that's like the freshest thing on my mind. She got 10 years. Your homeboy got 50 for doing almost the same thing. What was the difference? You knew what the difference was. Why are you emotional when you already knew the difference? What you're emotional on is, man, why isn't anything changing? We're not built the same. You're sitting here trying to equate yourself and be equal to something you're not, that's not even you. In that aspect, to that thought process. Don't even absorb the sun the same. And you want to run by their laws in this paradigm, but you want change. A lot of people will scream they want change. A lot of people say they want growth, but all they really want is inclusion. If you're giving these leaders, the leaders that are actually given to us, anything that they put on the media is not for you. Anything that they can give you openly on the media is not for you. It's shifted for you to be connected to it so you do not make any moves outside of it. So they can put Minister Louis Farrakhan on television. I love his message. I listen to a lot of his stuff. A lot of it now I gain that knowledge from that. But I take it as that. Because there's too much paperwork and research and too much in his paperwork that doesn't justify or put so many holes in the works. They gave you Martin Luther King, killed him, gave him a street. His street is in every hood. There's an MLK Boulevard, every ghetto across America. Give you a birthday, give you his holiday, give you the I Have a Dream speech. In succession, they go do something that makes you want to go protest and rally. In succession, somebody gets killed. In succession, somebody goes to jail. Oh, they're going to get justice. In succession, somebody gets off. They do it every single year. You see how they keep you triggered in a loop? Now all these little trigger buttons hit. Now you're stuck in a loop the entire time. Similar to your day-to-day life. You go to work. You make some money. Some good things happen. You get able to do what you want to do. You go home or go wherever your domicile is. You're doing everything good there. Something pops up happening in your life that's bad. You knew it was going to happen based on what you were already doing. Most of the things that happen in your life are of your own doing, based on your own thought process, your own mindset, things that you've already set yourself to do. Most of the things that happen in your life are based upon your own thought process, the things that you already used to do. They'll tell you the thought process, the devil's working on you. The devil ain't working on you. The devil's an energy that you carry. The God is the energy that you are. So a person can sit here and tell you every single day, peace and light, peace and light, peace and light. Cool. Peace and light, peace and light, peace and light, peace and light, peace and light. What about the dark? You feel me? Like, what about the dark? What about, if I'm always telling you peace and light, how can you come to me about your dark shit? Scapegoat from the trauma. The trauma is the dark. The trigger is in the dark. That's what shadow work is. Until you work on what's in those shadows in your life, don't look for peace. Don't look for happiness. Don't look for euphoria. Don't look for any of that shit. Because it is not going to come. I'm going to be 100% real with you. Until you look at the parts in your life that are troubling you the most, the things that activate the triggers that have you acting out of emotional irrationalism and trying to rationalize your thoughts, the peace is not going to come. The happiness is not going to come. You'll get glimpses. You'll get a distorted version of reality. You'll get more of the illusion. That's the whole thought process of loving everybody. It's an illusion. If you loving everybody, it becomes an illusion. Because now you're under the illusion that you can't learn. If you're loving everybody, you accept everything about the person. So under that false guise or that false disguise of you loving everyone, you don't see people for how they actually are. You see things that you want to accept. So that relationship that you're in, ooh, girl, he got money. You say you need the money. So you falsify the thought process in your mind that as long as you're getting the money, you're okay. So anything that this person does, you're all right based on getting the money. You're all right based on getting the things that you get. But you'll go put on shades when your eyes get black. You'll go to the church every single Sunday. You go to Sunday school, but then you're getting something that you say you can't get anywhere else, but you're giving this person ultimate dominion over you. That means this person can do anything they want. And as long as you're not expounding upon the depths of things, and you feel that everybody is everybody, everybody is love, everybody has their demons, everybody has their things that they're going through. Until we start discussing those things, you're going to be in the same position that you're in. That's why Uncle Malcolm been touching nieces and sometimes nephews for years, and never gets anything done to him. He's making all of this money for us. That's the And then we get this false sense of reality, which is actually very sickening to me, where you hear these stories and then that's what's based upon. Because remember, we either become, remember, that's under that thought process. Everything is everything. So you become what you hate. So as that girl grows up, since she was sexually abused when she was younger, the attention that comes to her to heal that wound is right there. You got to keep, in order to keep a wound open, you must keep applying the pressure that will open that wound in the first place. So that same pain becomes pleasure. We're addicted to the pleasure through the pains that we go through. So we're addicted to that attention. So since you're a child of something or other that you've chosen to be, you would choose the attention of what a child gets. Since you don't want to take the understanding into it as an adult and grow, you become a child, so you imagine it being better the longer that you go through it. So that's where that psychological programming comes from. That's why when you see the chick that's out here running the streets, she never had love in the home. So she got a perverted sense of love, or a twisted sense of love, through the attention that's actually lust. That boy that's running around chasing all these chicks, breaking their hearts, he didn't have a mother. He didn't have a maternal figure in his life. And the one that he did have in his life used his emotions and then cast them to the side. So he said, to get ahead of it, I'm going to hurt them before they hurt me. That's what we're going through. That's the illusion that we live in. We live in this illusion over and over and over and over again, based on these paradigms of not talking about our traumas. We got to get to the love. We got to get into these traumas. We got to get into these conversations. We got to start having these conversations. That's the only way that we break away. Because as long as we're attached to these things, we're going to continue to be misled. We're going to continue to be dictated by things outside of us that have no intention for us to get better. That's why I say it over and over again. That's why they can put it in the media over and over and over again, killing off a bunch of kids, stealing a bunch of organs. You already know why they're doing the organ harvesting. You go back, they're just repeating the same, everything's in a repetition. They need your energy. They need your power. They need us. They need you. They taking your organs from your baby. They taking the organs from our babies and from our communities, and they putting it inside their people. They're still feasting upon our pineal glands. They're still feasting upon our organs there that feels like they're going to give them type of superhuman energy. Melanin is like $3.23 a gram. Your skin, your body, everything about you that is melanated because it's natural, because we're carbon based. It's $3.53 a gram. $353 a gram. You're worth more dead than alive. And that's not even in the physical sense. You're worth more dead than alive. If I keep you emotionally tied If I keep you emotionally bonded, it's perfect. You're perfected in that. You're perfected in my program. If I keep you perfected in my program, the only thing that is perfect is death. All that goes together. So if I keep you perfected in this form, you're now dead. So you'll sit there and you'll take your selfie. Woke up like this. Woke up perfect. Not even understanding that you're aiding in your death. You're aiding in somebody else's death because somebody else is going to look at that image that took you 6 hours to prepare for, to take that one picture. And since you're not embracing your true self, this person is going to be like, so I have to go here, here, and here to get this, this, and this to be perfect. So then they dead themselves instead of embracing their natural ones. It's important for us to get back to us on so many levels. It's important for us to break these general curses on so many levels. It's cool to be an activist, but be an activist for something that actually is expounding to grow something, to take something to the next level. I don't want to see another protest about cops killing our babies. It's redundant. I don't want to see another fish fry for a funeral. I don't want to see another barbecue to raise money for a funeral, because you're eating the same foods that put this person in the hospital in the first place. I want to see more. In my mind, in my mindset, I want to see more building, but that has to start with the lower levels first. We got to start from the bottom. We got to start from the lower levels first. We got to start speaking life into each other more. The only way you can speak life into somebody is to understand what's killing them. That's where them conversations about the traumas happen. That's when them breakthroughs happen in them traumas. Start talking about the traumas, because you heal the trauma, you heal the nervous system. You heal the nervous system, you heal the intra. Cannot think of the other word. But if you heal the nervous system, everything else falls in alignment. The cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, you're able to breathe. Your blood's able to flow. Your brain's able to work at optimum efficiency. You leave the dead space. Stop holding on to old things that no longer resonate with you. Stop holding on to past hurts. We have so many challenges. Let's challenge somebody on that. I challenge you to tell me what hurt you. I challenge you to tell me about one of the skeletons in your closet. I challenge you to kill humanity. I challenge you to reap from your own energy and understand you're reaping in your energy. I challenge you to motivate the mind. I challenge you to understand why others are jealous of you. I've been speaking the spells forever for a purpose, as a man pointed. All I can do is be an example. All I can do is point. All I can do is be that conduit on that level of that energy. As I say I am, that's what I'm doing. The same thing that I do and personifying the energy of the space that I do in it, the same thing you do in your example. So if somebody doesn't understand something, you must show them from your example, from your perspective. The only way you can do that is removing that emotional barrier. That's the only way we can have these logical conversations. It's removing that logic, removing that irrational behavior. We got to start talking about these things. Just like they normalize drugs to numb pain, just like they normalize being a slut or whatever, just like they normalize glorifying smacking some bitch upside the head. It's like they normalize it's smart to be dumb. We got to start writing our own narrative. They normalize it to put 16 inches in your hair and change it out every week or every other day. But then you look at the people that they put on TV, you understand that these are costumes that they wear. They have a wardrobe department. They have a makeup department, wardrobe, makeup. We spend so much time trying to be what we see on TV when they just want to be just like us. You spend all your time trying to be like them, and they spend all their time trying to make an image of you. Everything in your life right now is an image of what you are. Everything that makes you feel that you're being attacked is an image of what you need to get through to get to what you need to be, of what you are. You were never human. Just like you were never a slave. You came to a prison planet. Earth is considered the prison planet because everything here is physical. You got trapped in the physical. We became trapped in the physical. Everything has already been written out on this script. Everything there is a learning experience. Once you understand that part about everything being a learning experience for you, shit ain't gonna get to you the way it used to get to you. You ain't gonna be mad anymore. You ain't gonna get as upset anymore. Shit ain't gonna get to you anymore. You're gonna start seeing it for what it is. Yeah, we gonna have those conversations with ourselves. Why would you do that? I just can't see myself doing that. But then you got to understand the perspective of these type of people. People that are bonded to that religious, that faith, what's it called? They've always been the most contradicting, hypocritical people on the planet anyway. They'll sit there and do something, and you'll be like, I know that's not right. I know that's not something that I should be doing. You'll say that. I know that shouldn't be doing. But they sit there and do it. And then that should be that moment to you. It's like, they're going to scream something or say something about a Bible verse. Talking about doing something right or wrong. But I don't believe in none of that shit. I know right and wrong. If you need a book or some type of text to tell you the difference between right and wrong, you're mentally unstable. If you need somebody to tell you something that you can read for yourself, you're mentally unstable. You are a psychopath. You're an arbitrator. They will call you crazy. They will call us crazy because we're awake in their world of illusion, so we can see it. They're projecting themselves onto you. I'm glad somebody finally made that post. Someone made a post the other day. I saw it on, I think it was on Facebook and Instagram. Somebody posted up, flattery is the ultimate form of insecurity. Or imitation is the ultimate form of insecurity. It used to be the simplest form of flattery. It's the ultimate form of insecurity. If I act or appropriate you, things that you do, things that you see, things that you act upon, if I appropriate your culture over my own, A, I either don't have a culture, or B, my shit ain't shit. It's more science for you. If I appropriate the model of another culture above my own, it's either because I don't have a culture, it's mainly because you don't have a culture. Everything around you appropriates your culture because it all started from you. So by you giving power, be like, and then we'll sit here and say dumb shit all the time, like, damn, Chinese kids are so smart. Damn, white kids are so privileged. Damn, Mexican kids work hard. And we'll live the stereotype. Damn, they're so smart. Damn, they work so hard. Damn, they're so privileged. You don't work hard. You don't feel worldly or privileged. You're not intelligent. You see how you're detrimental to your own mind? They ain't even got to speak spells anymore to you until you speak them to yourself. They ain't even got to do shit to you. They just got to do it to yourself. You do it already to yourself. And to remind you that they're there, they give you something to put your attention in. Then you give your power to them. That's how that works. When you give attention to things that you do not like and say that you hate it, and you speak all the negative annotations about it, all you're simply doing is reiterating the narrative itself. That's all you're doing. Disciplining ourselves is going to be one of the hardest things that we are going to face. And I say that because we lack discipline. We truly lack discipline. We lack the ability of discipline based on our knowledge of our mind to our ego. That's based on deserving what we want, based on what we actually need. You'll sit still in that line for them lottery tickets, but you won't sit in line at the library. We'll pay $100. We'll pay $350 for some shoes, but we won't pay $150 for a book. They ain't even got to tell you not to read anymore. They use reverse psychology. They'll tell you knowledge is power. They'll tell you knowledge is power. Knowledge is true wealth. They'll tell you, they can put that banner up right now. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is true wealth. But you won't go buy the $150 book. But you go buy them $350 pair of red bottoms, or how much red bottoms cost now? You go buy that $350 pair of shoes because you don't believe in investment. We don't believe in investing in ourselves. We don't believe in investing in ourselves. The most detrimental piece is not growing. The less we grow is based on the less amount of knowledge that we have. Lost my train of thought for a second. Now that we got to this point, let's start talking about the simple ways to acknowledge the triggers in your environment. Where are you sitting at right now in your life is either your beginning of a new or the continuance of your old. Where you're at right now is the continuance of the new or the bonding what's old. As you go to new levels, nothing that you want, nothing that you are going to hear is going to come from the same space from where you came from. That's the reality. The truth, that's what it means by the truth, is going to shatter your illusions. It's going to shatter your illusions to a point to where you can't go back to them. You ever thought about it like you get in a relationship and the motherfucker ain't shit? I mean, the motherfucker is completely not shit. They're not shit, but you keep going back. You think they're going to change, or they say something, or they do things that lead you to believing that they're going to change, they're going to do better. And after a while, they stop doing the things, and you just keep going back, and they start doing less and less and less and less because they realize that you're going to keep doing more and more and more. You feel like if you do more of what you were doing that was good and benefit to growth, they'll do less and less and less of the dumb shit. That's the relationship we're in right now. When it comes to the culture, our world, the realm that we're in. We feel that if we do that was the entire 60s movement of protesting. That's what that whole structure, that's when they put that program into place, and they've been playing it over ever since. They gave us this thought process that as long as we are meekful and humble and we bow our heads and we turn the other cheek and we're quiet and we're sanctified and we're humble, nothing bad will happen to us. What did you get? Civil rights privileges? I just rewatched actually a couple excerpts from the Bobby Hemming lecture, and he was talking about the gay boule. I'll put a link to that tomorrow on my page for y'all to look into that. But he literally broke down a lot of the things that I always thought about, but I never expounded upon. And one of the things he was talking about was the civil rights movement. He broke down on the civil rights, and it led me to the thought process of privileges and what privileges are and how privileges are dispersed. You want to be included so bad that you accept being a citizen. And I didn't even think about Starship Troopers until he brought that up. But he said the thing with civilians and citizens. When you look at your military, when you look at the military, or you become a part of an association, you're now a citizen. You're a United States citizen when you join the Army and do the government programs. Outside of that, you're a civilian. As a citizen, you're considered human because you get all the human rights and benefits and all the privileges that you want. You get all the benefits that you want. When you're a civilian, you get certain privileges given to you. Since we aren't human, guess what we are? We are civilians. So now once you understand that we are the civilians, and the ones that they consider human are the citizens of the United States, and we're not even considered citizens. We're not even considered human because we can't get citizenship. That's why we can be placed in third world positions. That's why you look at third world countries and they're broke and they seem destitute and they look like they're impoverished. And they show you that all the time. Look at Detroit. Look at New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. Look at Puerto Rico after the hurricanes. Look at Haiti. These are considered third world places now. But we consider them to be humans. We're all humans, remember? We're all humans. But they won't give them basic human rights. If you gotta beg for it, you're better off without it. If you gotta beg for attention, you're better off without it. If you gotta beg for the love of your mother, your father, you're better off without it. Because it's teaching you what the truest basis of love is. It's teaching you to survive on your own, to expound upon the knowledge, to build it for yourself, to become self-sufficient. For decades, they have been showing you that the only benefit to the system and the shit that they show us is to become more self-sufficient. You're mad now. Are you mad enough to give them back their religion? Are you mad enough to give them back their beliefs? You're mad enough to give them back their money? You're mad enough to give them back their food? You're mad enough to give them back their shit? Or are you just going to do what you do, similar to you complain about your job, but you go back there because you think that you need it? Everything is everything. That's what that is. You keep putting your attention to the mundane, complain about getting mundane shit, but then you keep going back for the mundane shit. You complain about the hand that's feeding you. They stop feeding you, and then you mad that they stopped feeding you. You said you didn't want us to feed you anymore. You said you didn't like us. It's scripted. You're acting to it emotionally, but you're supposed to love everybody. Even in the even all three texts, it says God didn't love everybody. In the Gospel of Thomas, a missing book from the Helios Biblios, or the Book of the Sun, he says he regretted making man. When you go down, break down, and you look into the other texts of when man was grafted, when they were created, you understand why they need certain foods. I haven't seen a pork is what's for dinner. Pork the other white meat, pork is what's for dinner campaign since the early 90s. That basically broke down. That's something that they need, not you. They need to constantly sustain and live off the things that make them. That's not a part of your diet. That's why milk can make your stomach hurt. It's not a part of your natural genetics. That's why pork give you a headache. Get a headache. Oh, I get my head starting when I eat a piece of pork. Let me add some more salt to it. That's why these things the things that keep hurting you and you keep putting it into your life, they're not meant for you. So stop trying to go back to them. We'll sit here and become so fragile in certain situations. Our emotions can be, I got such a fragile heart. But we go see how strong it is. Then we're gonna, but I can change them. You only can save yourself. You only can change yourself. You only can heal yourself. Self. That's why self is in front of love. It's so important. Self-love, self-reassurance, self-realization. These are the keys to taking you to your higher self. It's in the word. It's in the damn title. Your higher self. Your higher self. Not his higher self. Not her higher self. Not their higher selves. Your higher self. Not everybody's going to go where we're about to go. And I'm cool with that. I fought with that for a long time, thinking everybody's going to come where I'm going to go. I can bring everybody with me. Even in the text, it tells you that I cannot save another person. Another man cannot save another person for another man's sins. We get so stuck in the programming that we don't look for ourselves. Everything that you see, question everything. Don't even believe me. Because I'm not here for you to believe me. I'm here for you to think. You can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here. You're listening to this message. Your mind is open to this message. If you're getting the message, if it's resonating with you, if it's hitting you, if it's unlocking, it's hitting those buttons, it's activating something within you, that means you're on the right space. You're in the right path. You're on the right line. You're in the right alignment. But you ain't thinking about nobody else when you're looking at the message. You ain't thinking about nobody else when you're growing into yourself. A lot of the times we don't think about nobody else when shit's going good for us. We ride that wave. But the minute shit go bad, what do? Get a little quiet and hang to ourselves for a little bit. Then we start going back to the same old things, the same old thoughts, the same old points of view that we were comfortable with. When the things hit and they start shattering the illusion around you, you have to expound more into it. You can't run from it. You got to run towards it. You got to engulf it all. That fire going to get hot, but it's going to burn away everything that is not needed. That truth is going to be heavy as fuck, but it's going to weigh down and crush everything that's no longer needed in your life. The major keys to self-realization is what unlocks our true intuition. Your intuition will always lead you back into the depths of yourself. It will unlock things within you for you to get deeper into your intuition. That's what it means when you see a post or you see a message and it's telling you about becoming spiritually wise. The more you start taking yourself seriously, the more the universe is going to start taking you seriously. The more everything is going to start falling in alignment. The less things you're going to start thinking about time. These concepts that they put into your mind, these programs that they put into your mind are the only things that are holding the solution together. The more you feel like you don't have time for anything, guess what? You're never going to have time for anything because time isn't real. The more that you're sitting here thinking that you're scared to death, that you're going to die from doing something, not understanding that death in itself, you can't kill energy, and that you are a body encased in, you're a energy source encased in a body. So the most thing that you want to do is be released from the body. You want to be released to transition your energy to the next level anyway. So if the worst thing they can do to you is destroy your physical shell that you in and release you from the prison, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That's the worst thing that they can do. But it isn't the key in the thought process of embracing the part that you ain't scared to die, because we know death is the illusion. It's the thought process that you embody, that you know that you're only going to transition. A person can sit here and every single day, the next time someone comes at you and you yell out that you was a Christian, they can shoot you in your head. Tell the motherfuckers you know voodoo, they gonna run across the street. They ain't going to deal with your ass. That's about embracing your darkness. That's about embracing the bizarre. What's bizarre to them is becoming normal to you. We sit here all the time I sit here have conversations all the time about the weirdest shit. Seem normal as fuck to me. Because it's normal to me. Because that's what we are. These are our keys. The keys to getting past all of this is embracing our spiritual center. Voodoo means spirit, it don't mean evil. Malcolm X said it the best. Who taught you to hate your skin? Who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you not to love your lips? Who taught you not to love your skin? Who taught you not to like your curves? The person that taught you not to like your curves likes little boys. So think about that. You're trying to live up to a person's standard that's simply physical. You augment your natural beauty to fit somebody else's mold instead of embracing your own. You're beautiful on the outside, but all these traumas have made you ugly on the inside. You stuck. We get so wrapped up in that thought process that we get stuck. Now we stuck in the illusion. That's our traumas have locked us into an illusion. Not dealing with our traumas have locked us into the illusion. So we don't see the reality of what it is. Therefore, your starvation becomes their salvation. Therefore, you entertain your own siphoning. Therefore, they reap from what your energy sows. You sow in fear. So guess what? It becomes the fear. They reap from your fear. You entertain the stereotypes, so they siphon from your energy from the stereotypes. You don't deal with your traumas, so they use them traumas to trigger and sustain the illusion. So you have no sense of your own intuition, your own intuitive thought to base and create your own reality. It gets so crazy in that mindset of where you want to be at. Do you want better or do you want worse? Do you want more or do you want less? The only things that we have left at the end of the day is you. The only beauties of life are the things that you see and you want at the end of the day. There is no other better reality than you becoming yourself. Ain't no other better reality. Ain't no other better space. Ain't no better thought process. Ain't no better anything than that into itself. Do you want the same life? Continue doing the same shit? The illusion you got a message, we gotta send that message out. We gotta promote. We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep growing. There's nothing better in this world than your better self, your higher self. Everybody thinks that spirituality, in actuality, for some strange reason, everybody wants to think that it's going to be this beautiful thing of lollipops and rainbows and shit. It's not. It most definitely isn't. We have to get back to us. We have to get stronger. We have to get ingrained into us in ways that are not mundane. in ways that are not what we're used to. There's so many different paradigms that we become stuck on because of what we think we're from, what we think we are, what we think we're about, and we get stuck. That's the ultimate thing. We're getting stuck. We hold on to things because we think we're the only ones dealing with them. And then the remnants show. We create this reality where we think, man, I wish that people understood me more. The only way someone's going to understand you is if you open up your eyes and open up your mouth to speak. Closed mouths don't get fed. So many jewels are around us. So many moments to learn are around us. But we refuse to learn because we don't open our eyes to it. Because we're binded to fear. If I open myself, I allow myself to be hurt. But you also allow yourself to heal. If I open my mind to deeper thoughts, I allow myself to be angered, but I also allow myself to learn. There's no good and bad. It's negative and positive aspects. Once you understand that it's negative and positive aspects to the same polarity of the same spectrum, that's how you get to navigate through knowing. Once you understand that time isn't real, it's all about alignment. Death ain't real, so there's no such thing as perfection. You'll start loving yourself more. Because you'll love yourself for who you are and who you can become. It gets deeper. As we keep building, we're going to start getting into the methodologies. We're going to start getting into the systems, our ancient systems. A lot of our ancient systems that we use to this day are the ones that they over objectify to make seem weird, so we don't do it. They'll show you somebody meditating and they'll be all floaty and floating when controlled is a good thing. It's very positive. But you have to be anchored to something. There is no esoteric teaching when you talk about, when we start speaking of esoteric, we're talking about chakra healing, chakra alignment, chakras, chakra systems. We're talking about meditation. We're talking about crystal therapy. We're talking about binaural beats. These are all our ancient sciences. All this is ours. The biggest message that I want to put out is all of this is ours. All of this information, everything originally started from our dark. We are the dark that everything started from. That is the major key. Once you get that, everything else falls into place, and you understand why they try to keep you away from yourself. Every single day, we're kept away from ourselves. So they give you work, they give you bills, they give you debt, they give you shiny shit, they give you horrible food, they give you all these things to separate you away from yourself. So now your mind's overreacting and overthinking. Your body's overworking itself, and it never gets in alignment with itself. And you never feel like you have any time. Therefore, you never feel like you're worth anything. Then you're always sleepy. Then you become tired, and you don't have any energy. Now, understanding that you're your own energy source. The only thing and everything that you feed yourself powers your energy source. You're your own energy source. Understanding your own power is the key to understanding the love of yourself. Do you love yourself? If you truly loved yourself, you wouldn't put half of the things you put into your body. If you loved yourself, you wouldn't put half of the things that you put on and into your body. You will monitor everything that you put onto yourself and into yourself. That's the key. That's the reality to it. So are you being misled by your traumas? It's cool that it's been blue the entire time. Are you living by being misled by your traumas, or are you following your own intuition? Do you love yourself enough to let go? Do you love yourself enough to let go of hurt? Do you love yourself enough to understand yourself? So many of us have seen or have this naked response to being naked in the physical sense to be accepted. But we're never naked enough to be understood. So many of us get naked in the physical to be accepted, but never allow our minds to be unclothed, to be understood. So how many masks do you own? How many masks do you put on in a day just to get through life? The reason that you hate everybody else is because you don't love yourself. The reason that you feel attacked every day is because you don't have love for yourself. Because the moment that you love yourself, you realize there's no reason to hate or be mad at anything. That's the key to unlocking the higher sciences. Once you understand the spell, you manipulate the magic. Once you understand the spells, you manipulate the magic. Once you're able to manipulate the magic, you're able to create whatever you want. Your love creates your peace, changes your reality, grows your environment, and brings you in alignment. There's no better time to start than now. Because yesterday never existed and tomorrow never comes. I just wanted to pause on that moment because I thought about it myself. There's no greater. So I'm just going to vibe out for a little bit. I had a moment. There's one more thing I wanted to read. before we start bringing it to a close, one more thing I wanted to read before we start bringing it to a close. So much powerfulness in this energy to this. One more thing that I wanted to read and get out there. Where's it at? Y'all like it out there? Y'all good? Make sure you're okay. There was a quote that I wrote earlier today. I was actually surprised that I wrote it. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull this up. It's actually two things that I wrote. I wrote this earlier. It was going against the basis of what religion was, and I had a conversation with somebody, and basically, I had a conversation where I was like, I have so many people locked off. This shit blows my mind to have so many people locked off from reality, suffering because it's in God's plan, creating this invisible block to hide shit and judge others. Hell, earrings like my gauges, I was explaining to somebody, are actually a spiritual aspect. The bigger the whole actually taps into listening from the spiritual realm. We often don't understand that religious people and the dead folk reject has a deeper meaning, even with something such as homosexuality. And one physical level, one thing is one thing, but on a higher level, it's an explanation of the androgynous as the balance in the masculine and feminine. Most of the conversations I have with homosexual people are what they say is always because of traumas, or he's always because of trauma. And I went into breaking that down even further. The things that show up in our reality the most are the things that we need to learn from. So something as simple as you say that you hate this, but you're not expanding upon learning it, that's the piety of religion. The piety of religion takes us into the thought process of never to explore or to study or to research or to learn anything outside of the paradigm or this narrow-minded thought process. So we continue looking forward with blinders. So when things come into our lives that seem to feel so good, such as you would think about the sexual energy exchange and being liked in that or being loved in that formation, you don't understand your energy. So since you don't understand your worth, when you're giving yourself out to this, you're giving your power away, you don't understand your worth, so you're not understanding it. So that's what we're stuck in. That's what I want people to understand. That's what we're stuck in. Since we're not explaining, since we're not exploring, and we're not researching, and we're not thinking, using critical thought and logic, it's not working. Everything gonna seem too far away. Everything gonna seem like we don't have enough time for it. Everything in your life ain't never gonna fit and be right, because it ain't meant to fit to stay. It's meant for you to learn. All this shit that we go through is meant to learn from it. We're meant to expand our knowledge and reach to our higher selves. We're not meant to be the richest motherfuckers in the prison. We're meant to burn the prison down and build our own shit. We're not meant to sustain this government. We're meant to understand the workings of it, to destroy it, to create back to our own. You're not meant to go to that job every single day, slave for 10, 12 hours, get that little $200-$300 or however much you get paid, whatever that paycheck is, and go spend it on shit. You're meant to take that, what you get from there, apply it to the knowledge for yourself to become more self-sufficient. Too many of us are sitting here, I want to enjoy life, but it requires sacrifice. But we don't understand what true sacrifice is. Too many of us are suffering in silence, not learning that we have to be open in order to let that shit go. We will sit here and suffocate in a closed room rather than opening up the window and throwing the shit out. We'll hold it because that made us what we were. But we have no idea who we are. We know what we were, but we have no idea what we are. That's why everything causes the conflict. That's why the thing that feels the best for you usually is the worst thing for you. Because it's feeding your ego. The worst thing for you usually feels the best until you actually understand it. Something as simple as you start doing things, now you start going through the motions because you think that's what it's supposed to be there. We've all done it, or we're all doing it. We've become pious. A lot of people I see in this conscious community, as it's been deemed, they've become pious. They've become so stuck on their right that they stifle themselves in knowledge. So they get stuck to a certain spot and they don't want to go any further. In my personal studies, I've shifted past the sexual tantras and the sexual things, and I'll get into more lectures on that. But I'm more into the darker side than I've been ever. I get excited when I see the pictures of witches and I see the pictures of Prudish sitting on the thing of stones because I know what it's sitting on the skulls because I know what the skulls mean. That's the shit that excites me. The most bizarre shit to these dead motherfuckers is going to be some of the most exciting stuff for you because it's going to touch the truer sides of you. That's the key to breaking the illusion. Expounded upon the truth. As we winding down, about to hit that 3-hour mark. If you have any questions, thoughts rattling through your head, things you want to talk about, things you want to put out there into the universe, pretty much everybody that's has all of my openings, you can hit me up on my IG, my Instagram, under Rod Colonegis. Hit me a direct message on there. You can hit me on here, comments, and you have all the comments lined up here, and I can answer the questions one by one. Hit me on my Facebook Messenger, Rod Colonegis on there. I really don't use my Twitter, so I don't really use my Twitter like that. Just got back into Snapchat. I'm actually going to start doing some big things on that. I'm actually working on a couple of other things to further change the narrative, not working another to become more self-sufficient. I truly believe in creating our own. I've always had that create your own mindset. So I'm about doing more to creating my own. So I got a couple of big things that I'm working on. That's going to be very exciting. But I'm going to leave this space right here for question and answers. I'm going to expound upon a couple of other things, a couple of the findings. and we can just have a build from there. Other than that, I mean, I love this ability. Also, the questions lead to answers for me to be able to steady my mind as I move around and able to create different avenues for the structure as we build. Um, I wanted to look at something real quick. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm looking for it right now. As I look for it. It's all about the reflections, basically. Really? Oh, I heard it. Or I cannot find it when I want to find it. The minute that I do find it, oh, I know where it is. It's on my page. Break down and make everything make sense. Well, the beginning of this thing said, and I actually liked what it said. And it breaks down and it makes everything make more sense. Albert Einstein actually said it. This is actually kind of crazy. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and a rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgot the gift. In you is the greatest gift ever, and that's your mind. Your mind is a wonderful place if you learn to control it. If you don't know how to control your mind, that's when your emotions run rampant. That's when you allow somebody else, you become a servant in that aspect. So that person that you hate, you're serving them. That problem that you can't get over, you're serving it. The only truest oppression that happens to us in that aspect is just that. For us, it's so many spaces in our minds, we're stuck to the conduits and the forces that we control. A lot of the times we get lost in that. Just so much we get lost in day to day. You can have the key to your own salvation right in front of you, but your own ego will stop you from taking the leap. I just want you to take the leap. As me saying this, I've taken the leap plenty of times, and I've never been happy every time I take the jump. Every time I take that quantum leap, I'll land somewhere that I need to be. When you stop looking at it as right and wrong, you start looking at it as the value in learning where you're at, it all makes sense. It all falls into place. That's how that alignment starts. That's what it's mean by when you realize you have nothing, you don't need anything, everything comes. It's because you don't need anything. Because you're centered. You're centered for everything to come to you. Learn from it. Learn yourself to love yourself. As always, I love you. We love us. Let's rise.